8 games played, 8 games won. Arsenal end the Champions League group stage campaign with 8 wins on the bounce. This is your match reaction. Welcome to All About Arsenal. Today we're going to have our match reaction. Arsenal just whooped Kairat Almaty and making his debut on the channel is Doku himself, Mr. Ade Oduyemi. How you doing, bro?
How are you doing? Thanks for having me on the show. I'm excited at being here for the first time.
Yeah. I'm actually excited to have you on the show as well. Obviously, we chat a lot in the Arsenal group, but sometimes it's always good to put a face to the name, you know. To see that you're just more than a keyboard warrior. How you doing, brother?
Yes, I am a keyboard warrior. I'm good. How's everything?
I'm very fine.
At least we're
so as always, we'll just obviously what we expect. Our guys are cooking. It's the least we could do. Yes. You know, so without further ado, let's first start with the confirmed lineups. You know, this was a game that we expected to rotate. So let me start with you, Ade. What were your expectations regarding how much rotation was to be done tonight?
Oh, I was very pleased that for once Arteta took on the rotation thing. I was very worried that after the Man U game, he might decide to use the first team just to get the Manchester game out of their body. I'm happy he allowed them to rest and use this team. To be honest, I was expecting a few more younger boys, but this is also good. A lot of these boys need minutes. They need time. They need games. So this was a good thing. This was very expected, and I'm happy about it.
Awesome. So let's just drill through the starting lineup one after the other. Kairat Almaty finally making his Champions League debut for the club.
Finally. If you
had seen Raya on this game, would you have been unhappy about that?
You know, generally everybody believes that keepers are not as stressed, so they don't need that much rest. But I think even for Kepa's sake, he needed to play this game. Even to experience, because he might not get another opportunity unless something happens to Raya. I don't think he's going to get another opportunity to play for us in the Champions League this season. So this was a good one for him. Awesome. It would have been sad to ignore him and put Raya there. I think it would have been bad for his confidence as well.
Yeah, I agree. Now let's talk about Calafiori. It's been a very long time since we've seen him in action. So he actually made only 45 minutes today. Were you expecting Hincapié to start this game, or was Calafiori okay as a pick for you when you saw him on the lineup?
Well, Calafiori needs the minutes. He needs to. He's been out for about 5 weeks.
Yeah.
So he needs this. In an ideal world, if he wasn't just coming back, I'll say, what is he doing here? But having been out for 5 weeks, he needs games like this. And apparently, the fact that they removed him after 45 minutes tells us that he's still not close to full fitness.
Yeah.
So this was necessary.
Awesome.
And we're not going to get many opportunities like this to get these boys fit, to give them minutes. So
true. Now let's look at the fullbacks. MLS is one player that has really struggled with game time this season. And obviously, this was a game we expected him to start. Were you happy with the way he played?
Well, MLS was MLS today. MLS' best role is when he inverts into the midfield. When he has to stay out wide, he struggles. But when he joins the midfield, he plays better. And he was allowed to do a lot of that today. And he did all right. By my books, I don't recollect him ever being in trouble. Although the opponent also plays a part in that. I don't think they were of the top. They are of the typical quality we meet week in, week out in the league.
Yeah. So another one that comes to mind is Ben White. You know, he's been having challenges with injury this season. I remember that game against Wolves when we had that counter attack, he was trying to come back for him. Obviously, his hamstrings got struck.
Exactly.
But this was a good way to rest him. Although even I think actually
Yes.
confirmed earlier in the press conference that Timber was not going to make it. So were you concerned with White playing 90 minutes?
Well, I mean, he went 4 games before he got injured the last time. So I'm thinking 90 minutes is needed. If he can't play 90 minutes, then we'll be looking at other options come summer. He
Oh,
needed to
true.
play this 90 minutes.
True, true. Okay, now let's just go further up the pitch. A very Chieze. This is someone that has finally actually gotten game time hard to come by in this campaign. Have you been disappointed with the amount of games he has played? And do you think more
I,
should have been done to improve his game time?
I suspect he will be disappointed. But do I blame Arteta for benching him? No. I totally understand. This team, the foundation of this team is defense. It's not a defensive team, but they build on defense. They build on a solid defense. They go forward knowing that the defense is good, knowing that the defense is functional, and they can rely on that defense. And that defense works because everybody works. Everybody. And Eze is not yet there. Let me put it that way. It's something I guess he's not used to. I don't think he had any that much defensive responsibility in Palace. I don't think he really did. So this is
Yeah.
new to him. So I think the fact that he's not new to the league, everybody assumes that he should be adapting faster. But Arsenal's style of play is Arteta ball is very, very intense. And is very, very based on everybody working hard. I don't think I'm sure even in Muladinity has never worked this hard in 90 minutes before. I doubt if he has ever had to do, because especially the midfielders,
Yeah, because
Arteta
then again,
works
if you
them.
think about his time in Crystal Palace, he always had the likes of Mitchell, Lemma, to do all that work
Exactly.
for him.
Oh,
All he
to
needed to do was
work.
cook.
Exactly. That's it. He didn't do a lot of work in midfield. He
Makes sense,
was
makes
more
sense.
of the attacking outlet.
Okay, so finally on this slide, centre forward. Were you expecting Gabriel Jesus to
Hmm.
start, or do you think this was a
No,
game for
no.
Gyökeres to start pad?
This was a perfect game for Gyökeres. And one of the things I'm happy about is if you look at the group, everything I pointed out week 3 and 4, everybody's getting there now.
Yeah,
Gyökeres has a lot of work to do. A lot of
oof,
work.
true.
In the league, one of the things, if you cannot keep the ball, at your feet, you will struggle with the defenders in the Premiership. They are intense, they are on you, they don't give you space. So you
True.
have to be able to keep the ball. And he struggles. And I pointed that out from week 3, 4. I said, this guy can't keep the ball, and that is going to be a problem. If you look at our games, even today, a lot of the time he couldn't keep the ball
Yeah.
against these defenders. And this defender, with all due respect to, I won't call them Kudrats, but all
Kairat
due respect to
Almaty,
them,
yeah.
I think they were not half as intense as the Premiership defenders, and he still couldn't keep the ball. He kept
Mm,
losing it.
yeah,
That
true.
worries me.
I
That
agree with
worries
you,
me.
man. So let's go to the next slide. And basically, this is about his quick fire opener. So this was a game we expected to come out of the blocks quick, because then again, if you remember how the game against Man United panned out, and of course the press conference that Arteta gave, talking about how he needed the team to rally around. So we needed the response in this game. Yes, this was a dead rubber match, but we needed a response. So how happy were you when we scored the goal this early week from your guys?
Oh, I was very happy. And I was very happy that it was him that scored it. I was really hoping it would give him the confidence boost that I think he needs. I was very happy it was him. I was very happy with how the goal was as well. He ran with the ball, which he also has been struggling with in recent weeks. But this time he ran with the ball and fired a shot on target. And it was a beautiful shot at that. There are very few keepers that would have come near that ball because he placed it well. It didn't leave it on the ground. It was bouncing, so it's difficult for a keeper to estimate the height. It was perfect. Let me put it that way. And it
Yeah.
gave me hope for Gyökeres.
Yeah, so according to the stats, he actually had an XG of 2.02, which means that he actually underperformed in this game. He had five
Yes.
shots. So What are your key takeaways from Gyökeres' performance tonight?
Are you sure you want me to go into?
Yeah,
Okay,
please, please.
let
Come
me
on.
put it this way.
I'd like you to air your thoughts, man, for all the
Hmm.
subscribers and everyone who are watching this video. Just get your thoughts out there, because obviously it's something that we as Arsenal fans need to look together and talk about.
No,
So, what are
absolutely.
your thoughts about his performance tonight?
Let me put it this way. Uh, he didn't surprise me tonight. There are no
Mhm.
surprises. You've seen me analyze his game on the group and talk
Yeah.
about his weaknesses and how his weaknesses are going to be are exactly the worst weaknesses to have in the Premiership, dealing with Premiership defenders. I don't see Gyökeres surviving facing a Gabriel, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how he will make a difference against a Maguire. Very physical centre backs, he would really struggle, especially if they are big and strong. He won't survive them. And it's not because he isn't strong himself, it's because he needs too much space.
Yeah.
I don't know how to put that. He needs too much space to do something with the ball, and
Yeah.
they will not give him that space. They won't. He's running with the ball for that his first goal. No defender really came near him.
To
If
close
you
him
notice,
down. True.
nobody really closed him down. Premiership, you don't get those kind of opportunities. They come maybe once in a while. 90% of the time, someone is running with you. Classic example, if you look at Dogu's goal, typically Zubi should have been with him instead of
Yeah, to
raising
close
his
him
hand.
down. Yeah, I
Yes,
agree.
instead of raising and waiting for the ref's whistle, he should have been. And normal him would have followed him.
Yeah.
So and that's the
Even
classic
for
example.
Cunha's goal, Gabriel should have closed him down as well.
Exactly. Do you understand? And that's the typical Premiership way. They will not give you that space, and that worries me for him. Now, how do you fix that? I mean, I have a friend that said it's something they teach you from way back in junior in the junior team.
Yeah.
So it might not be fixable, and that really scares me. If it's not fixable, come next summer, chances are Arsenal will be looking for a striker again.
Yeah, so
If this is not
I was listening to an article somewhere where they said that we're actually linked with Julian Alvarez.
I
And
would
Atletico
love.
said I'm going to pay like 100 mil. If you have an Alvarez, obviously you take him via Gyökeres, right?
Well, if we pay the 100 mil for Rice, I don't see how we don't play 100 mil for a striker. And Alvarez has shown us in the Premiership that he can survive. He has played in the EPL and he did well.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, was back up to Haaland. Anybody
Yeah,
that is back up to Haaland is going to spend a lot of time on the bench. Let's be honest with each other. But
true, true.
he showed us he can survive. And the rumor is he's even better than back then. So if it's Alvarez, I'll be the first one to raise my hand that please bring him.
Yeah, but
I
the
wish you
question
had brought
would
him last summer, in
yeah,
fact.
but the question would be this: if you are bringing Alvarez, should that mean the end of Gabriel Jesus' time in the club? Because you can have Alvarez, have Kai Havertz, have Jesus, and have Gyökeres. Wouldn't that be like a striker too many?
Okay, so for starters, I see Havertz going back to the midfield. Let's be
Okay.
clear about that. That's one. Two, I think Jesus' time with Arsenal is already done. I think I've already expressed myself on that before on the group. I talk about it all the time. That left to me, if Alvarez or a top striker was available this January, I'll be selling Jesus this January.
Hmm.
It is he is tried. I don't think he's a bad player. I
Yeah.
think keeping him is one, taking a risk. The kind of injuries he's had, I'm sorry, but those are injuries. He's been out for too long. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten some new. Because what happens when you come back after a long time is you start picking up little injuries because your
Niggles here and there, true. But I'm actually need to understand is the fact that he actually earns like 250 bags. So even if you
that's
want to sell
another
him,
risk.
who's going to pay that kind of money to Gabriel Jesus? Knowing what he has gone
Honestly,
through.
that's I think that's the biggest obstacle. On one hand, I'm looking at what he's earning as against his output, and I feel like
Yeah.
for that amount, I'm sure Alvarez won't cost us that much weekly.
No,
I don't
most
think he'll.
definitely.
I don't think his wages will be that high. So for Then taking it further, the longer wait, the more difficult it is to sell him. I want us to become a club that avoids a situation where we're releasing players. We have to get to a point where we're actually
Hello.
club that doesn't do it. All big clubs generally
fair
at
enough.
different points, they don't sell their most vital players, of course, but they sell players that are doing well. Even if it's to balance the books, even if it's to create space for somebody else to come in, they sell.
Yeah, like Chelsea,
Last,
the turn
in
players in
fact,
and out and all that.
in fact, I'll take it for that. Madrid, for instance, they look at willing to sell Robinho. Oh, it's nice thing. The boy that refuses to play left wing, that doesn't want to play left.
Oh, Rodrigo,
sorry.
Yeah, Rodrigo.
They were willing to sell him. It was Rodrigo that refused to leave.
Yeah.
And they weren't selling him because it wasn't useful to them. Tonight, they had a vital game that they needed to win to get into the top 8.
Yeah, top 8, yeah. But they missed out.
And he played. He was a part of it. That's how important he is to them. But they wanted to sell him.
Yeah.
They wanted to raise the money. They wanted to create the space. So sometimes teams, they will look at their team and say, look, who do we sell to balance the books? Who do we sell to give us space in the team to bring in somebody else? Or who do we even sell just to raise money, just to meet FIFA fair play or anything?
FFP and all that. True.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
If you are selling Robinho for 100 million, look at how much space that gives Madrid to spend.
True.
Because for every 100,
the whole wage cap, I know that La Liga, their regulations are a whole lot stricter too, actually.
Exactly. So those are the things. It's not that Robinho wasn't useful, it's that they thought to themselves, we can do without this man, and we can find somebody better, or even somebody that is more useful somewhere else, because we don't need that man in that position. Also,
because on the right hand side, they have Franco Massatuono, they have Adabule, so they have a couple of folks that actually cope in that step.
Exactly. So the question then becomes, if we're truly a big club, we can't say it's only the bad players we will sell. Because if you do that, you're only going to be selling 10, 50 million pound players.
Yeah, but
and you want to start buying.
I think we've really been bad with sales in recent seasons, though.
Yeah, but there are two reasons why. One is, I also think the fan base plays an important part in that. The way we truly attack our players online depreciates their value, seriously. But also, we only sell the bad players, or we sell players that are agitating to leave.
Yeah, and their stocks will be very low, actually.
Exactly. The minute they're agitating to leave, the stock will fall. So instead of players that are agitating to leave, look at your team and say, who do I need to replace? And I think number one person is Jesus. He needs to go.
Sure.
I think it's time for him. I love him. I think he has done well for us to the best of his capability. But I also feel, one, he needs a slower league with less pressure, especially for his muscles after all those injuries. I think we need to free up that money as well. We can do so much more with 250k, I believe. And I also feel there are people out there that will take him now. That if he gets another injury, they won't touch him again. Now that he's playing and they can see that he's getting back to form and there are no issues, we can get away with selling him now. If we wait and he gets another injury in March, nobody's going to touch him again.
But then again, I think Ateta still wants to keep him at least for this campaign. And I believe that him and Beta will reevaluate the situation in the summer. Because he will have a year left.
Honestly, I think in a way, if there's no available striker to replace him, then it's the best, it's the most logical pathway to take in this case. But my fear is if he gets another long-term injury, nobody will pay a kobo for him.
I agree. Okay, so let's go to the next action that is worth discussing. And this was the equalizer from Jorginho, thanks to Calafiori's carelessness. So obviously his positioning was terrible for that passage of play. and he actually cited down the player. I don't even know why VAR was wasting anybody's time with that. That was a penalty. If I was my own player that was taken down like that, I'd have gone mad asking for a
If
penalty as well.
exactly, that's the
You
thing.
know.
But you know we faced those
Mhm.
kind of situations before and we didn't get the penalty.
Yeah, of course, though we have enemies here and there. But we just attribute this to Calafiori just being rusty, or
I'm
can it
hoping
just
so.
happen to anybody?
No, no, no. It can't just happen to anybody. I disagree with that. I think I put it down to he was rusty. I am holding on to that as my consolation because I refuse to believe that it was that simple for them to get past him and for him to lose focus so totally. I guess the other thing you remember is that normally he plays on in the left back row, not the center back row.
Yeah,
As a left back, you
but
can get
he's
away
a
with.
centre back by trade now. He plays centre back for
He is.
Italy. In Bologna, when we bought him, he was actually playing centre back consistently for
I
them.
100% I agree with you. But for Arsenal, he plays the full back row. So
Yeah,
maybe but my point is one, he's rusty. Two, even more important, even when he was playing, he wasn't playing that role. So he's even more rusty. That's where I was headed. That is even more. It's been a while, so it's not a role is as used to because especially international competition is not as for a while because of AFCON and the rest. The last time he went with Italy, I think, was in October,
yeah.
and since October he hasn't played in the centre back role.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Games
I think
where
maybe it was quite
even those
important to get minutes to MLS, so that was the only way they could actually accommodate him because he also needed
accommodating.
minutes too.
Exactly. They both needed minutes. And I think those kind of games, he needs time to grow into it. So if you look for the rest of the 45 minutes he played, he didn't make those kind of mistakes again.
Yeah.
And that
Do
mistake
you
came
blame
early, came
against
in the fourth
Leeds?
minute. What?
Do you blame against Leeds, or is that too soon for him?
No, if he's playing only for 5 minutes now, the first thing is to check his reaction to the 45 minutes. So I honestly would leave that to Arteta. If he's fine and fit, then he will start a left back against Leeds. He should start. He's our best left back by a mile right now.
Yeah,
So he should
yeah.
start. But my worry is if he's playing only 45 minutes, and if you notice, it was obvious that it was planned that both him and Havertz were going to come out after 45 minutes. So what I suspect is he's not ready to play 90 minutes. And if
Yeah.
he's not ready to play 90 minutes, you don't want to be starting somebody that is not ready to play 90 minutes.
So
Especially against Leeds away. They are going to
true.
be very
Very
demanding.
physical and demanding,
Yeah.
yes. But how big of a miss was Calafiori for us in this weeks he has been out?
Ooh.
Have we really coped in his absence in that position?
Defensively, he wasn't that much of a miss. What Kala gave us going forward was a different dimension. And that one dimension, both Skelly and Hincapi, they don't have it. They're different kinds of players. If you watch Arteta, he likes his side forwards staying wide and
Yeah,
cutting in. And then he likes his fullbacks running into the channels. Timber is very good at that. You know how many times you just notice that Timber is in the box and
yeah,
Saka is out wide. Whereas White with Saka, White goes round Saka,
yeah.
heads for the
On the
line
byline.
on the byline. Timber comes in. And the same thing on the other side, he prefers Kala coming in. And Kala is the only one that seems to be good with that coming in. Incape and Skelly is good with adding people
Inverted.
into the midfield.
Yeah.
And Hincapi stays out wide. And I don't think his crossing is any good. I think Hincapi
Yeah.
needs to work on
Yeah,
his
I think
crossing back.
Hinkapie is actually more of a Kivior replacement, and that's him playing as a left back. I don't think we're really getting the value, in all honesty.
Yes.
Okay, fair
So
enough.
he really should be back up to Gabi,
Mm-hmm.
the left centre back. I think
Yeah,
that's it. I think he's more of a
yeah,
left
makes
centre
sense.
back than a left full back.
Okay, but is Hinkapie justified to be ahead of MLS behind Calafiori?
Based on this season, yes.
Mm. Fair enough.
Something, yes. The thing is, they both play very
Yeah,
not as scary.
I agree. I agree. Okay, so let's talk about King Kai. Finally, he made his comeback. Ade, are you still with me? Your picture seems frozen.
Can you hear me?
Okay, you're back. You're back. Okay, at some point you were frozen, but I think you're back now.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I was
So this
wondering
was
what
a
happened.
player that we had missed for a very, very long time,
Oh,
and
oh, we
and
missed him.
yeah, and to see him come and play 45 minutes and play the way he also did. Yes, people will say this was against Kairat Almaty, blah blah blah. But I think my key takeaway from it was the fact that one, he played in midfield and he was very influential. Scored an amazing goal, also gave an assist to Gyökeres. How much have we missed Kai, and do you think he's going to be our starting striker when he becomes fully fit?
He played in midfield today and he played so well. So the question is, are you sure? Are you sure Arteta is going to move him to the striker role? That's a big question for me. Are we sure Arteta is going to move him to the striker role? Because he played really well in midfield. We've missed him, no doubt. Missed him, no doubt. And I also feel right now he's our best striker.
Hmm.
It's just that we need him to get fit. I think he's our best striker, but we also need to give Gyökeres time.
Okay,
If we
yeah.
if we start benching Gyökeres now, he
Mhm.
will lose more and more confidence. And even if we're going to need to sell him, again, we're going to struggle with those kind of issues.
Yeah, so regarding the issue of time, there's this narrative that when we bought Kai Havertz, that was 2 seasons ago, he had the same kind of struggles, and you had to even give him a penalty against Bournemouth, and at some point the fans warmed up to him.
Yeah.
Has Gyökeres been afforded the same type of grace, or do you think fans are harsher because of the record he came from with Portugal?
Um, you see, if you look at Harvard's game from day one, he wasn't scoring, but from day one, you could see certain technicalities that would give you hope. For those who truly watch football, they can see his ball control was excellent. His reading of the game was excellent. He was very intelligent. He was also a dark arts specialist.
Yeah,
You know those little moves that to stop the counter attack or to keep the opposition wide. You know those little nuances in midfield. Kai
hmm,
was very good at that, especially for a forward. He was excellent at it, and those things made a difference. It allowed us to see him beyond just scoring goals till he got to that. With Gyökeres, what we're holding on to now is he occupies the centre backs.
yeah,
That's really it. That when he's there, he keeps them busy such that he reduces the pressure at the other end. So we're trying to find space for Gyökeres. But when you're dealing with striker and you're dealing with top level football, and we're talking about skills that should have been taught in the football academy,
yeah.
you as a fan, you start to worry that have we made a mistake here? I always said that my first problem with Gyökeres was when I went to check the history of all the previous highest goal scorers in the Portuguese league. That was where my problem started.
Yeah,
That
Bastos,
hey, this is not
Nunez.
a
Yeah, I
this is not
agree.
a.
Yeah,
But I wanted to give him a chance, and I do agree. I did notice that he occupies the centre backs. He keeps them busy, he keeps them demanding. But the more, I mean, look at how many chances he lost tonight.
yeah, fine, actually.
The
It's been a
more
lot. And,
centre
and
backs,
I think the one that really shocked me the most was that time when Martinelli anticipated the ball and fed
yes,
it to him, and it was 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper. And I actually thought he was going to, probably dribble the keeper or get a penalty. He just blasted it at the guy's
exactly.
body. Like, he has that clumsy vibe about him.
Well, yes, it does, but in fact, that's the word, clumsy. He's a clumsy player, sort of. However, I feel like, does he have composure?
I don't know,
At
for
the last,
someone to score 97 goals in 102 games, I think you should have composure.
that's the assumption, but I haven't seen it. Composure means at least 50% of your shots will be on target. About 50% of your shots should be on target. Now, it might be on target and straight at the keeper, but it's on target. I don't
Mhm.
see I don't see that. Composure means you place your ball. Composure means you are regularly on target. And he is not. I look at that last minute chance against Manchester United again that
They are
ended
going
up
to
being
throw
a goal.
him.
Yes, and a player with composure won't hit the ball like that.
Yeah.
Honestly, so it's so and composure is one of the most important attributes striker.
Okay, fair enough.
Composure is
So where do you lie in the Gyökeres versus Shesko debate? Would you have preferred Shesko at Arsenal to him?
because I totally understand. I haven't seen enough of Shesko to say he is better than Gyökeres. But more important, I totally understand where Arsenal is at the moment. We had gone through the project phase,
I think we just lost Adi again.
a place where we
Okay, he's
have
back.
to win. That we have to win now. We're now at a place where we're saying we have to win now.
Mhm.
Sesko is a project. Sesko is going to need 2-3 years to
Yeah,
become a top striker. From
yeah.
what from Lilo I've seen from his age, and when you look at his record with the Bundesliga, I
Yeah,
mean,
he
last
wasn't
season he did
prolific
12.
actually.
Sorry,
I think he
it
wasn't
wasn't.
prolific.
It
Yeah,
wasn't. If you're coming from Bundesliga with 12, I shudder to think if you will make 10 in the EPL in your first season. That
yeah,
let's be
fair enough.
realistic.
Fair
But
enough. Fair enough.
better, let me rephrase that, than better
Yeah, for
rated by
sure,
a
for
website.
sure, for sure, for sure.
But is coming from Portuguese with 57 and someone is from Bundesliga with 12. I won't blame Arsenal for picking the 57 goal
Yeah,
player.
true,
I
true,
mean,
true, true.
it's
I agree.
it's it's almost a no-brainer. You have to, and we can't afford projects right now. The projects have to be coming from the junior team for the academy. Our first team needs to be now players. And if you
Yeah.
notice throughout the summer, almost everybody we bought, in fact, everybody we bought for the first team were all now players. None of them was a, it's
Yeah,
just,
I think only Mosquera was a project player. The rest were
Mosquera is a
all.
now player. Have you not watched him play? That
Oh
boy
no, no, no. So
plays.
no, he had played 2 seasons consecutively in Valencia, no doubt.
But
But and
so
just maybe I'm
for
just
me,
gauging from his age or something.
yes. So for me, when Mosquera came up, I thought he was a project player as well, and I was surprised because if you look at the team, Eze, Gyökeres,
Kepa, Logan, Madueke,
Kepa, Nogard, Hincapi, all of
yeah,
them are now players.
true,
They
true.
weren't all players that will come and replace our first team, but they were now players, not projects. So when Mosquera came up, I thought, okay, I mean, having bought all these now players, maybe one project player is not too bad. But when I went to check his stats at his games, I realized, and then when he played,
Yeah, very mature, maturity beyond his
you realize,
years.
I mean, he reminds me so much of Saliba.
Yeah,
Saliba was when he
yeah, I agree. I agree.
oh, boy is really good and he's young. So even Mosquera is not a
True, true.
project.
Awesome. So now let's go to the next slide. Prior to this game, when Gyökeres had scored that goal, he was on 9 goals. But we already had a player who was on 9 goals, which was Martinelli. So when Havertz played that ball across, could Gyökeres have done enough to score it, or was that ball going out before Martinelli scored it?
For me, I thought it was going out. The argument is it was already in and Martinelli should have left it alone. But remember that Martinelli is also chasing a record. So,
Yeah,
one, I don't blame him. And then two, in the heat of the moment, very few players will think, okay, let me leave it. Imagine if he had left it and he didn't go in.
it
He
will
would
be
have been
very
kicking
embarrassing.
himself. Exactly. So I really don't blame him for ensuring the ball gets in the net. And every time from every angle that I've looked at that ball, I can't 100% say it was going to go in.
Yeah, fair enough.
Better safe than
Now,
sorry is my philosophy on that.
yeah, I agree with you. But in terms of the performance, when I was at work on Monday after the Man United game, a couple of colleagues of mine were in the opinion that Arteta should have brought on Martinelli as the final sub for Trossard while leaving Saka on the right. Because when we brought on Madueke and moved Saka to the left, Saka became non-existent. And of course, Madueke had this opportunity to play the ball into the goal kick before Man United transition and scored the final goal. So the question now is, if Martinelli continues to give performances like this, when he has scored 10 goals this season, or even though the bulk of his goals are in the Champions League, at what point will he start challenging Trossard consistently? Because it seems like in the Premier League, Trossard is the preferred option, even ahead of Eze and Martinelli. Do you think Arteta this will do like a kind of a rotation to make it clear that nobody is assured of their place in the team?
Okay, so there are two ways I look at this. One is Trossard generally this season has been more productive.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand starting Trossard. I also feel Trossard is prime target to be sold in the summer. By the summer, I think he will have a year left.
Yeah, based on his age, yes. And he's 31
Yes, and
already.
exactly. So I think he will be primed to be sold. And I mean, playing him keeps his value high for us to get at least some money out of it. As to who should have come in, I don't know why Saka wasn't exactly effective on the left in the second half.
Yeah.
He had disappeared. So I also understand why, to a large extent, Arteta decided, let me try Noni. Because one of the things Noni brings is chaos.
Yeah.
His dribbling,
And
his take on.
directness. Yeah,
Yes,
but my issue is
sort
just
of
that
imbalance
output.
in the defense.
My issue is the output. There's something that someone was telling me about between Saka and Madueke and White and Timber. He said he wishes White was as good defensively as Timber and wishes Timber was as good offensively as White. He now said he wishes Saka was very good at dribbling like Madueke and Madueke was very good at finishing like Saka. So for some reason, this guy just have some deficiencies that are always coming to the light.
There's no such thing as a perfect player. They're
True.
humans. So everybody has his own. It's to look at the deficiency and see how much difference it makes, how important that deficiency is to their location. So, for instance, Gyökeres excelled in the Portuguese league, even without being able to, even with the needing space. But
Yeah.
he's going to struggle here until he can play without needing so much space. So you look
No.
at the weaknesses and say, how does this fit in? In that game, I don't blame Arteta for any of the decisions he took.
True. True.
I've asked myself, I wouldn't change four at a time. I probably wouldn't have taken Odegaard out when he did. I would have changed that. I would have taken Zubi out for sure. And then I'd have waited a bit to see if it will wake Odegaard up. And if he didn't, then I'll take him out.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
possible he saw that there was no hope at that point and he needed to take him out. So
Yeah,
I will not argue
because
that.
it felt like making four subs at the time was like desperate and panic mode
Yes,
somewhat.
in a way it looked panicky, but in a way it also is a decisive move. It could be a case of, look, okay, I made a mistake with the first set of people I picked. I mean, Mourinho had only three subs and he changed all three at halftime once upon a time. I thought it was crazy, but he was trying to pass a message to the team. So I also feel, even apart from the outside look, I think Arteta was also telling the team something, that if you do not step up and perform to your abilities, I will take you out, no matter how important you are.
Yeah, and in hindsight, Merino actually scored. He was one of the subs, so you have
Exactly.
to give
Mourinho
that
came
to.
in and scored. But also, the fact that we had to take Zubi out and move Rice to the six actually
Mm.
weakened our defensive formation in midfield, our defensive structure in
Yeah,
the
I
midfield.
agree.
And I think that led 100% to Kunha's goal. I think
Yeah, yeah.
Cunha
We
would have
actually
scored.
exposed at that point in time. I
Yes.
agree.
Okay.
Okay,
So
so let
there are two sides to it. It was a risk he needed to take because even while Man U was leading 2-1, they looked more likely to score a third goal.
Yeah.
They looked more likely to score a third goal. So he had to do something. And I
Mm-hmm.
think he did that to shake their mindset.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
It wasn't just I need these four players. It was also to pass the message to the whole squad that you need to wake up, and if you don't, I can remove you anytime, and I can make those moves. I can be
Awesome.
decisive like that.
Okay, so then let's talk about the tactical breakdown. So I'll just talk about a couple of players. And you tell me what you thought about their performance. I think I'll start with Eze. This was a game that he needed to really shine. There has been some scrutiny on him as a player for us. Yes, he had an amazing hat trick in the North London Derby and also scored the goal against Crystal Palace and gave us 3 points. But seeing the Aston Villa game where he made that mistake to allow Martin Cash score, Eze has been sort of been very peripheral in the side. And in the games he came on, like the Portsmouth game he started, and even this one, games that expected him to show his influence, he didn't play as well as I would expect. And what's the thought process on his performances in the games he has managed to play so far since he came back into the team?
To be honest, I haven't been impressed with him. Although, like I've said, I think he's one of the few that, even though he crossed within the league, so the league is not a surprise. Arsenal's style of play will be a big shock to him. So he's going to need time. He's one of the few that I would raise up my hand and say, you are going to have to give him time. He probably needs another full preseason of running that midfield. You know, Eze is really coming in to replace Odegaard. Odegaard
Exactly.
runs a game. I call him a quarterback. He's like the
Mhm.
quarterback in American football. He
Yeah,
runs the pace. He determines the tempo. He decides when we go forward, when we stay back, when we press. He's the trigger for the press. So
yeah,
Odegaard is so essential to the team. And for that reason, when Odegaard is not there, the team doesn't click as well. It's amazing. When he's there, we don't we I don't think we place as much importance on his being there when
yeah.
he's there. But when he's
True.
not there, there's a way the team sort of doesn't gel at the same rate. Now he's not the player he used to be. Who he
Yeah, he
was
has
2 years
regressed. I
ago, we
agree.
are still looking for that person. But I know that that person is in there. Now Eze is replacing that person. When you replace a quarterback, you are going to first give him time to learn the plays, to understand the players, is to know when it's the running back, or when it's the, I don't want to use the American football terms,
More
but bottom
terms,
line
yeah,
units.
yeah, I get you. But I really get that.
You need to
Awesome.
understand each of the players, how they move, when to stay. In an ideal world, the space Cunha ran into to score that third goal is where Rice would be normally. Is
Yeah,
where Eze should have been, because Eze was playing the Rice role.
yeah.
But Eze was playing as a 10, so not exactly the Rice role. So he
Yeah,
wasn't
and
there.
typically when AJ comes, we kind of switch to 4-2-3-1. Unlike
Yes,
with Odegaard, it's like 4-3-3. I agree. I agree.
exactly.
Fair
So
enough.
that change in the system as well is something even the players around him need to get used to, because we haven't been playing it for a while. We haven't played
I
4-2-3-1
agree.
in eons. So even
Yeah,
the players
yeah, I
around
think the signings of AZ and Gyökeres has really made us to adapt our formation somewhat.
yes, our structure of play, our
Mhm.
speed, and all, but we're still learning. So, for instance, the pass Kai gave Gyökeres for the first goal, the question
Mhm.
to ask is how come Odegaard doesn't do that?
Yeah, those direct forward passes. Those
Yes,
and Kai was in the Odegaard position actually.
yes.
You know.
So the question is how come Gyökeres doesn't get those balls?
Mm.
If you look at Gyökeres, he gets most of his balls from the wing and
Yes.
from deep
Yeah.
in midfield. Maybe
Mhm.
when Eze goes long or
Yeah.
Saliba goes long. And even those ones are starting to stop because the long balls is not great with them. His
True.
control
Yeah, his
between the
control
two is
is
not there.
clunky. Very clunky.
Exactly. So for that reason, if you notice, the team has reduced the amount of long balls they send to him. They've
Yeah.
gone back to who we were about 2 seasons ago, sending the long balls to the wings.
Yeah.
They
And
don't.
I know we are more freaked up with control. So that kind of plays a role. Okay,
Yes.
that's fine. So now let's talk about the kids. It's been a long time since we gave debuts to
Oh,
a couple of folks. Early in the campaign, It was all about Max Dowman.
Yeah.
Obviously he had a couple of games in preseason, even early in the season, and did okay. In the FA Cup, we made Mali Salmon the youngest ever player in the competition. But tonight, there were two debuts for
Two new
Billy
kids.
Joseph and Ibrahim, Ife Ibrahim. Were you happy with seeing these young lads make their debut for the club?
Oh,
And do you think the sky is the limit for them?
I was really happy about them coming home. I was really happy. Like I said at the beginning, I said I thought I'd see a few more kids, especially as the game isn't it doesn't have any effect on our position or anything. So I was expecting a few more kids, but I also understand why all those players had to play. They needed the minutes. So the kids coming on got me excited. I've heard about Ibrahim, and I was really excited about the fact that Ateta brought him on in midfield.
Yeah, for
Ateta is
Northern.
not always that brave with the kids. He
Mm-hmm.
likes them being in positions where they don't really
Have to make
affect
too
the
much
game.
defensive work.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So bringing him on as a DM to replace Nogard, that really excited me. I wish they had
Okay.
got more time to show their ability. Then I was surprised that Salmon didn't come in as well because I think he was on the bench.
Yeah, yeah, but he had an injury in the under 21s. So
Oh,
so he just went for a fitness test and was not like 100%. If not, he'd have come on
okay.
for
So they just
probably, yeah,
okay.
for
So they
Mosquera.
just kept him on the bench. He wasn't going to play.
Yes, yes, that's an
Understand. Unless
emergency.
it was absolutely necessary.
Yeah, but speaking of kids, one area at Marseille, that
Oh,
debut, how was it to you?
well, I was excited for his goal, but that's him. So the goal didn't surprise me. It surprised me that he was brave enough to score on his debut and brave enough to score like that because he ran quite a bit of distance with the ball and
Yeah.
placed it beautifully. That tells me that the boy's confidence is still sky high, which was what I was worried about from his spending so much time on the bench and not getting any looking. I thought his confidence was going to take a hit. But that tells me his confidence. What Waneri needs to learn now are two things. One is control of the game. If he wants to play the Odegaard role, which is really where he wants to fit in,
Mm-hmm.
everybody, I thought it was going to be the Noni for this season, the
Yeah.
backup to Saka for this season. But apparently, everybody wants him in midfield. Everybody seems, even him seems to think it's the midfield role, it's the Odegaard role for him. So he needs
Mm-hmm.
to learn the rhythm of the game, rhythm and control of the game, and he needs to learn to pass.
Yeah.
One area doesn't, I don't think he passes enough, but he's an exciting player, and the things he needs to learn are things that come from playing. So
True.
the skill set is already there. So the more he plays, the more he will learn to control the game, to control the rhythm of the game, and to know when to pass the ball and when to hold the ball. But he's a
Yeah.
good goal scorer. He has always been, and he scores from those positions regularly, from that same position that he scored from. So it's exciting to know that he's still a confident player and he will still score goals.
Yeah,
One area really excites
mhm.
me. I just worry that will Arsenal be patient enough for him and will he adapt fast enough? Especially with if Kai is moved to midfield, if Eze is still around, will
Yeah.
one ever get the opportunity to truly become a first team player? I
Yeah,
don't
but
know.
one thing we know for sure is that he's not going to play in the Champions League for Marseille. Following their 3-0 loss to Club Brugge, as well as
Oh,
Benfica beating Real Madrid. Benfica
yes.
took the 24th slot and Marseille finished in 25th. And
Yeah,
as
it
we
was very
know,
painful that
yeah.
and it was a keeper goal. I mean, Mourinho, oh Lord, I was very sad about that. So on one
Yeah.
hand, I was excited. Wow, this is interesting. This is what makes Champions League Champions League. Then I looked at the table and I realized it was Marseille that was going to suffer for it. I was like, no, that's my boy. That's my boy. Hey.
Yeah, it happens, man. Okay, so
And
let's
I
do
know
play. Let's do
I
player ratings. Go ahead. Finish your thoughts.
okay. I suspect part of the reason he picked Marseille was the opportunity to play in the Champions League.
Yeah,
So
but I think
when he
that's
gets
one.
there,
But
oh,
another
I
thing
know
that
that.
comes to mind is the fact that the Premier League clubs that came for him, West Ham and Bournemouth, he was not going to play consistently for them for sure.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
That was there. And then he was
Yeah.
also excited about the coach, De Zerbi. He
Yeah,
said,
Deserbi. Yes, yes,
yes,
yes. He's actually a
he's
very
one
good
of
man manager.
the-
I agree. So let's look at the player ratings. I gave Kepa a 6. I think he could have done better in a team like Kairat Almaty. The penalty, obviously, everyone can consider penalty. But for that second goal that Ricardinho scored,
second goal. I blame him. Yes.
yeah,
He
he
has the
was
power
he
to
was
play.
out of sorts in that game.
Yes.
And it
That
kind of
second goal
concerns
could have
me
done better.
because this was the same way he was out of sorts for that corner kick when we played Chelsea in the Carabao Cup semi-final.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In all honesty, I don't think I want him to keep in the second leg. I think I want Raya in the second leg.
I think I want Raya for every game going forward. It's not just second game.
No, 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 no.
I
I think you play Wigan. Kepa will play Wigan. You should play Wigan.
I'm sorry, I don't want us to take any more risk. What has happened has sort of shaken me. I don't want any more risk. Yes, I think he should play Wigan. Let's be honest.
Yeah, yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough.
If he can't play Wigan, then there's no point having him.
Okay.
There's no
So
point having
one
a
player
Kepa.
that we have not really spoken about today is Noni Madueke. He had many darting runs, did Madueke things that we expect him to do, but when it mattered in the final third, he was lacking badly. There was even a shot he took that went into orbit and landed in the
Yes.
other side of the moon. You know,
So honestly, I would have given him a 6 as well. I mean, there was no end product. He had no assist, no goal. Yes, he dribbled a lot, but there's no point with all the dribble if there's no end product. Did he
yeah.
create any chances? I honestly I can't remember. I can't
I
remember.
think I think he, I think he created a couple of chances. Let me check his stats on Football. Yeah, he created 5 chances in the game, but they were not finished. Of course, the corner kicks he had, most of them were quite poor as well.
Yes,
Just
and
going to show you how important Saka and Rice are to this
oh
team.
yes, because I was
Because we
going to
had,
talk about
yeah,
that. I was going to talk about the corner kicks. I thought he had gotten better with them. I think the last time he played, his corners were more dangerous.
yeah, that was
So
against Portsmouth.
I was
True, true.
yes. So I was expecting that the corner kicks were much better. So I was quite disappointed that they were so poor. It wasn't a one-off. I can't remember a
Yeah,
single corner kick that was good.
yeah. And there were some in the near posts that were so poor, and I was quite shocked to see how that panned out. But it's all good. At least we got the 3 point. That's what matters. So now, what does this win mean for us? Looking at the Champions League table, 36 teams started this campaign early in the season, and right now the teams that have been eliminated: Marseille, Pafos, Union Saint-Galois, PSV, Athletic Club, Napoli, Copenhagen, Ajax, Frankfurt, Slavia Prague, Villarreal, and Kairat Almaty. From the list I called, which team shocked you for not being in the playoffs? I'm guessing Napoli, right?
Oh, Napoli shocked me. Napoli really surprised me. I was sad for them because Napoli is doing all right and they still have KDB.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah,
still have KDB. So I thought they would make it. But I guess leaving their last match to be the decider and it being against Chelsea was itself a problem.
yeah, and at home as well. That was quite
Exactly.
shocking, because they actually led twice before throwing
Yeah.
it away. Then looking at the playoff spots, we have Real Madrid, Inter Milan, PSG, Newcastle, Juventus, Atletico, Atalanta, Leverkusen, Dortmund, Olympiacos, Club Brugge, Galatasaray, Monaco, Karabakh, Bodo Glimt, and Benfica. So, are there any playoffs clashes you are looking forward to seeing?
I'm surprised Karabakh made it.
Yeah, even with the 6
With
0
due
defeat,
respect to
right?
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they lost 6-0, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
I guess maybe they were sure they were going to make it, so maybe they
Yeah,
didn't play their first
they
game.
threw the game away, right? Now,
Mhm.
looking at the big boys, we have Arsenal, Bayern Munich, Liverpool, Tottenham, Barcelona, Chelsea, Sporting CP, and Man City. So, what
Yes,
comes to
Sporting
mind here?
surprised me.
Yeah,
Sporting
Sporting.
surprised me that they made it ahead of the big boys. They made ahead of Inter. They made ahead of. I mean, they tried. It's quite impressive that.
Yeah, but another thing
The-
that comes to
ahead
mind.
of Madrid, ahead of Inter,
Mhm.
ahead of PSG, ahead of Newcastle, ahead of Atletico Madrid. Oh wow, that's some achievement. Dortmund, they've
Yeah,
done well.
but why did England have 6 slots again in the Champions League? Can you remind
Okay,
me?
so one is FIFA was playing coefficient rules, and so England was going to get one more slot because they were the most
Ah,
highly rated at the moment. So they were going
oh,
to
okay.
get five. And then Tottenham now went on to win
Oh yes,
the
they won the
UEFA Cup.
Europa League. I
Yeah,
remember
the
now.
Europa League,
Yes, yes, yes,
and
yes,
joined
yes.
to make number
Yeah,
six. So
that
that's how
terrible
we ended up.
final. I remember that. I
Yes,
think I
yes,
slept
that
off
terrible
twice.
final. Exactly. I
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
words you have used there. That terrible final, where I was watching it and hoping both teams could
you
lose.
lose.
I was writing requests to UEFA asking them, I don't know how you're going to do it, but I expect both teams to lose this final. I don't know how
Yeah.
it's going to be achieved.
So in general,
Yeah.
8 games played, 8 games won. How happy are you with our Champions League campaign?
I have been very, very impressed with this team. I know that there have been a lot of brouhaha over because of the loss to Manchester United. And
Yeah,
I don't think a lot of people are taking proper perspective. Yes, we didn't have a great game, but there's a reason the Invincibles are the Invincibles. We're not going to go through the season winning every match and not losing any. That has
yeah,
only happened once.
true.
There's a reason. I mean, the all conquering Manchester City teams still lost.
Yeah,
The Manchester City team that won the treble recently still lost. The
I agree.
Mourinho Chelsea team that conceded only 15 and holds the record for the least conceded goals, they lost. They
Yeah,
lost matches. There's a
I agree.
reason. So, and but we're not. If you watch the Manchester United Man City game, Man U dominated that
Yeah.
game. They in fact, they deserve to score. There were three offside
Yeah,
goals. There
yeah,
were
three,
so
three
many
goals
damn
cancelled
fouls.
actually.
Yeah,
You
do
know?
you understand? So they did not only deserve to win, they deserve to win by more. The two goals flattered Manchester City.
True.
The 2-0 flattered Manchester City. But against us, we lost to a defensive mistake and two screamers.
Yeah.
They had
Yeah,
three
but and
shots on.
I will feel that when we're leading 1-0, we're in full control of that game up until that Zubimendi
Yes,
error. Kind of took the
until the
wind off
Zubimendi
ourselves.
error. And it just changed everything. And if you
Yeah.
look further, they had three shots on target, three goals. That for me is partly luck,
Accuracy, man.
partly
Quite
inspiration.
efficient.
I honestly don't think it's all about accuracy. I think when a team is motivated extraordinary, they do things like that. But
True.
those kind of things don't last. So I'm
True.
not going to say Carrick is good or bad. I don't know yet. I'm just going to say if it is just that game we're using to judge, then we all need to take perspective.
Yeah.
The Arsenal team is not doing badly at all. It's
Mm-hmm.
not doing bad. To have won 8 games straight, beating everybody, beating Inter away, without while resting about five of our players. In fact, half the outfield players were rested, and we still won that game away to Inter. Inter has
Mm-hmm.
been in the Champions League final 2 out of the last 3 seasons. I think
Yeah.
that I think that feat is being on, and we beat Bayern. We beat Bayern at home
Mm-hmm.
by two clear goals. This team is actually quite good. I think Ateta is onto something. I really wish we had the kind of striker that will complement this team. I think the forward movement is the final.
Yeah, yeah.
And if we
That,
get
that
that,
cutting edge that we don't have yet.
yes, I think the cutting edge that we finally need is that. And unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get that this January.
Yeah. But
I don't see
probably
the
be in the
player, I
summer.
don't see the space.
Because it's
Yes.
quite shocking to know that right now our head scorer in the Premier League has only 5 goals, while Haaland is on 20 and Thiago is on 16. That
Yes.
speaks in volumes.
That
Okay,
says
so
a
even though
lot.
the goals have been collectively scored, we can actually do better with the guys that are
Of
in those
course. Even
positions.
the collective, when it is five, if the collective is still not alone, it's still not enough. If
Yeah,
you're talking collective and you have six players on between 9 and 14, that's where Do you get? But when the
Yeah,
highest is
because
five, there's
Gyökeres is
nobody with
5,
eight,
Trossard is
nine.
5, Eze
Yeah,
is 4, Saka is
Saka
4.
is
You
four.
know, that's terrible
We still have a
actually
bit of
when you
work.
think about it.
But but as terrible as it is, we are where we are,
True,
leading
true,
two
true,
leagues. What that
true.
tells me is one, this team has not picked.
Mm-hmm.
We have not peaked for this season. We're not at our peak yet, and we're this successful. What happens when we hit our peak form?
Oh, goddamn. We will certainly cook, man.
That and then what happens if we truly now improve with an excellent striker in the summer?
Yeah.
What will next season
Awesome.
look
That
like?
that'll be awesome. That'll be awesome. As long as we still keep the core of our players and not let
Exactly.
anyone go.
So honestly, for
So,
me, the
mhm,
two things this team needs now for the summer is another left winger
and the
who will
striker.
probably be replacing Trossard and a
Mhm.
striker.
Yeah. But then again, which left winger comes to mind? Can I use this?
Well, I've learned, people have humbled me, so I've learned not to make
Maybe
recommendations.
recommendation,
I mean,
right? Okay, that's
because
fair.
if nothing else, and if nothing else, Eze, I was very excited about Eze coming,
Yeah, true,
and
true, true. And
I
yeah,
haven't been
see what
too
we are saying right
impressed.
now. Same with Gyökeres.
Exactly.
Gyökeres, everywhere was
Honestly.
going. I was all about this, but
Mhm.
almost
So
24 games
Yildiz,
played, just 9 goals.
exactly Yildiz I like from what I've seen, and the fact that he's young, so he's going to be a project.
Yeah,
And if we win at least one major trophy this season, which I expect, we will be able to afford have spending money on a project.
true,
We'll be
true,
able
true.
to put some projects on the side.
Yeah,
But
I
if we
agree.
do not win a major trophy this season,
And you have to have
I
renowned
suspect
players. Yeah,
exactly. I suspect not only will we not be able to afford to go and buy project players, we might start having some of our players get agitated about leaving.
yeah, like Saliba spoke about how he has nothing in his pocket, and stuff like that. So we need to be
Yes.
mindful of it. Okay, so
So
go to the final slide. Our next
it
opponent,
is
you know that's Leeds United. And the last time we visited Elan Road, we won 1-0, a goal from Bukayo Saka. That was last campaign.
yes.
Then in the early parts of this season, we played Leeds at the Emirates and we smashed them 5-0. Gyökeres had a brace. Timber also scored 2 goals, and then Saka scored a goal and got injured. What's your take on this game? Bearing in mind that right now in Ellen Road, they are beating Chelsea. They also drew 3-3 with Liverpool. It is a ground that we are going to run them over, or will the pressure come
No,
back?
no, no. No, no, no. We can't. Leeds is not the. I'll be very surprised if we do run them over. Leeds at home is as dangerous as Sunderland at home. That's the first thing. So, what I'm hoping for is the boys get their confidence back and they play
Yeah,
much better, especially as most of the first team have been rested midweek. They have
yeah,
not been stressed out. They've been told to relax and they didn't play today. So, that gives them a whole week to focus on Leeds. That
I
is very
agree.
important. I'm
I
sure
agree to
Ateta
that.
didn't, even in training, I'm sure the training towards this Kudirat was more about Leeds. I doubt if he did anything special to train the boys on focusing on. I'm sure
On
everybody was
Kairat.
more
Yeah, yeah, I
was
agree.
more about Leeds. So we'll be in a better position to face Leeds. One of the advantages Manchester United had that people are ignoring is that they have no midweek matches anymore. So from week
Yeah.
to week, they're
Yeah,
focused on
and
the next
that freshness
opponent.
actually helps.
Oh,
I
it
really want
helps.
to look at that.
It helps
Yeah.
them. It helps them tremendously. So, to a large extent, I expect the same level of freshness for us against Leeds. That's for starters, and I expect a bigger fight. I know Leeds would have taken the 5-0 very personal, and they
Yeah,
will want to
I
put up a
agree.
fight.
Awesome.
I feel like if we want to truly run them over, we have to start early. We pump
True,
in two
true.
goals within the first 20 minutes. The Leeds players are going to slow down.
Yeah,
They're going
I
to slow
agree.
down and be like, okay, these guys are truly ahead, especially with the 5-0 in mind. But if
Yeah,
we give
but
them
I like
breathing space, we will be in so much trouble.
yeah, but another thing we have to be very mindful of the fact that they are flirting around relegation. They have 26 points right now. Crystal Palace in 15th place is 28. Nottingham Forest in 17th place is 25. And West Ham in 18th place is 20. So if they take a loss from us and these other teams win their games, there'll be some serious amount of pressure on them. So Arsenal needs to be very mindful of that. But we'll do more of the list preview when we get towards the weekend.
I totally agree
Okay,
with you.
so this brings us to the end of today's stream. Ade, I'm very, very, very delighted you came here, especially on short notice. This was actually
Really,
awesome
I
cooking
really,
with you.
yes,
Any
I really
final
enjoyed the
thoughts?
chat. I think we should all get behind the team. I was very sad about the booing at the end of the Manchester
The Man
United
U
game.
game. Yeah,
I think we should all get behind the team. Yes, we can discuss what is wrong and what is right. And I guess it's tough to ask people that are paying to come and watch the players to behave a certain way. But if we truly want this title, and I feel like this team deserves this title, they've worked hard for it, and
yeah,
Arsenal as a whole has made sacrifices. I mean, we don't have owners that are money bags and spending like the oil money boys, but at the same time, they have done a wonderful job to have
in
provided so
backing them.
much in the
Yeah,
summer. They've been
mm,
backing the team. I
yeah.
mean, at the last calculation, we had spent almost 1 billion, and we are barely recouping anything back because our player sales is non-existent,
Terrible. Yeah,
mediocre at best. So everything has worked towards us getting there. It's time to get there.
yeah. Awesome.
The financials came out, and I mean,
We're seventh now.
our turnover has grown in leaps and bounds because of our commercial activities,
Yeah.
and it shows that there is a lot we're getting right. So this is a final. If we win the Champions League, if imagine winning both the Champions League and the Premiership,
Woo!
imagine what you'll do for this
Yeah,
team.
man.
What
It
you
will galvanize
oh,
them a lot, man. I agree.
exactly. So we just need to get behind the team.
Okay.
They can do it, but they need us.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why I really loved the interview that Etita did before the Kairat game, where he spoke about how they
Yes,
had that team meeting, they cooled down the temperature, and they just so that they're going to enjoy themselves because they've finally got in a position to be where they are today. As at 29th of
yes,
January, they are first in the Premier League, they are first in the Champions League, they won the semi-final first leg against Chelsea with 1 foot in the final, and they are doing well in the FA Cup. So these guys have actually worked very hard to be where they are. And guess what? They have had terrible injuries while all this has been ongoing too.
yes. Of course.
So there's a whole
Not
lot
just
to be
every week.
positive about with the team, in all honesty.
Yes, this week is the first week we've had a full complement
In
of players
January.
since the start of the season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, since the start of the season, this is the first week we've had all the players available. That in itself says a lot about the
I
team.
agree. I agree. All right, man. Thank you so much. It's quite late, it's almost 1 a.m. in here.
Thank you. This was very
Yeah, but I
enjoyable.
also
Thank you so
enjoyed it.
much.
For everyone in the chat,
Yeah.
thanks for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I will catch you guys in the next video. Till then, come on, you're gonna